Hello and welcome back to Mac at the Movies. Today I'm going to review for you the 2006 documentary, The Devil and Daniel Johnston. This film, like I said, was released March 31st, 2006 by Sony Pictures and directed by Jeff Fierzig. He had also directed films such as Half Japanese, The Band That Would Be King, and Author, The J.T. Leroy Story. This film focuses on the life of Daniel Johnston, a famous musician and artist from Austin, Texas, and his battle with mental health issues. It starts out with, and his family and he himself had documented so much of his life just through photographs and Super 8 video, that it really helped build this film together, especially the early years of Daniel. But this film shows the progression of his mental health issues and everything that he was able to accomplish while battling with all these anxieties and everything that he was dealing with. Like I said, he was a huge artist in Austin, Texas. Right here, I will put a photograph where I was in Austin, Texas a couple of weeks ago, and I got to see the mural, Jeremiah the Innocent, which he had painted there so many years ago, and people have tried to come there and cover it up, thinking it was just graffiti, and the owners that used to own that building were like, no, it's a mural, it's art, you know, we want to keep it. And so much so that right now the city of Austin has it as a protected mural. So if anything ever happens to it, they go in and they work to recover what they can and bring it back to new. Just before going there, I know there were a lot of protests in that area, and it was vandalized, and the city came in and brought it back to new. So it's great that things like this can go on for years to come, just to bring a little extra happiness in somebody's day. But he was an artist, a songwriter, a singer in Austin, Texas, and this film shows all that he was able to accomplish with all the struggles that he had to deal with. When I watched this documentary, I went out, I bought some of his music and started listening to it. His music, not only, it's very raw, it's very rough. Everything that he recorded was done through just a little like cassette player with a microphone. It was very crude of recording practices, but it worked. When you listen to it, you hear the blues, you hear jazz, you hear rock and roll, you hear pop. He was hugely inspired by the Beatles. You hear that, but not so much that it sounds like it was ripped off. It's like he took some of the Beatles sound in some of his music and sort of made it his own. He was able to really put out his own feelings and his own inspiration from their songs and give it to you. Again, it's very raw and it's very rough, but when you hear it, you hear everything coming together. It's like you can hear the drums and you can hear the bass, and you know, if there were a symphony behind it, you could hear that. There's so much you get out of his music that I feel if you don't open yourself up to it, you'll never really appreciate. But when you hear it, and it's sad, it's dark. I would say a good majority, like 97.8% of his music is about love and loss. So, it's very, like, when he had a broken heart, he literally recorded it and said, "Here you go, world. If you're willing to listen to this, I'm willing to tell you this." And I thought it was just amazing that, you know, even artists today that come out and say that they're giving the world, you know, everything they have inside of them, like Daniel gave fear and everything else above that and said, here you go, I'm literally going to lay it all out in the line for you. And I mean, it's just amazing. This film shows his, like I said, his battle with mental health issues. And there was a moment in the film where he had, with all these issues, he was, I guess, on tour, and he had taken some LSD on the tour, and that really did not help things. He went on a giant, campaign that the devil was against him. The devil was trying to come after him, and he became very highly interested in just Christianity, so much so that it affected the way he performed live. If he performed live, he went a couple of years without performing at all, and people were like, we want to hear you, we want to see you. And he was like, nope, just doing my thing. He kind of came off the ground. He was a self-starter. He knew that what he had, he wanted people to listen to. And what I liked is that, and it's something I try to do with this channel, like, I don't want to necessarily say, you have to listen to this, you have to watch or play this, because I want to be famous. Like, he just wanted people to hear what he had to say and what he had to play. And so whenever he would give somebody a tape, they would be like, well, I'll see what I can do about playing this. He's like, I don't want you to play it on the radio or do anything like that. I just want you to listen to it. And so people would listen to it, and it was like, he had dated this one musician, Kathy McCarthy, who later went to record an album of cover songs from Daniel. And he had given her a tape, and she tells a story about how he came up to the show the next day and was just very excited. Did you listen to the tape? And she was just like, I didn't know what to tell him. I didn't listen to it, so I lied. And I was just like, yeah, it was great. I loved it. And then she went home and listened to it, and mind blown. The music is so deep and so raw that you literally feel pain. It's nothing like I've ever heard another person really just, some songs sound like you almost hear a slight breakdown of spirit when the songs are being performed. There are scenes, that depict what was going on with Daniel when he had a mental breakdown, when he went to a psych ward because of his previous bouts of, LSD flashbacks and whatnot. There's, terrifying stories about, his management. One manager got a lead pipe over the head. Another manager was constantly in fear of getting fired and replaced, regardless of how hard he worked for Daniel. So it's kind of sad when you see these parts of the film, that somebody who brought so much joy to the life also brought so much just fear and, I don't want to say hate, but it was just not a good station in his life. I don't know if he was necessarily hanging around the best of people. There's a scene where he became friends with Sonic Youth, and Daniel had a breakdown moment and disappeared, and they went on the search for him. They were day in and day out looking for Daniel until they found him. But you see moments like that where people were concerned about him, but he wasn't in the right headspace. And then there's a terrifying story that really breaks up his dad, where they discuss an incident with an airplane. I'm not going to talk about that here. I don't want to tell all the stories of this film and ruin a great watch for everyone out there. So Daniel's had his music covered by so many bands. Sonic Youth, Flaming Lips, Wilco, Pearl Jam, The Eels. So many artists, so many big name artists have found appreciation in Daniel's music and has shared it themselves. One of the biggest artists that really kind of got Daniel's name out there, like in the subconscious, was Kurt Cobain. He wore a t-shirt with Daniel's Hi, How Are You album cover on it. And, you know, it's between that and Daniel really pushing his music to MTV or anywhere he could. It's like he pretty much stalked MTV and was trying to, you know, just be wherever they could, or be wherever he could to say, this is my tape, Hi, How Are You? It's an old album, but it's, you know, it's a good one. And he did what he could to promote himself. And between that and just people finding his music and instantly falling in love with it, it really kind of pushed and drove his career. I myself included, when I was in college, I DJ'd for college radio just for fun. I wasn't in the class. I just knew I wanted to give radio a try, and why not, you know, see if college radio will let me do it. And they had a couple of free slots, and anytime I had a chance, I would play Daniel Johnston and just try to get that name out there. And I'll throw some songs in the description below, just some of his songs that I've really grown fond of over the years, or just stuck out to me in the beginning. I'll put that down there. But yeah, definitely give this documentary 5 stars. I really do like this documentary, and you know, I know Daniel has had many bouts with mental health issues over the years, and there were some very dark places in his life that affected a lot of other people that were near and dear to him. But in the end, I mean, he was, you know, just a great soul all around. Again, we all sort of have our own issues in life, some greater than others, and in this case, he had some pretty great issues. But yeah, definitely check this movie out if you get the opportunity. I don't often push movies onto people, but I do think, especially if you love art and music, definitely check this one out. If you have any interest in, you know, mental health issues, definitely check this one out. I mean, it is a great story, and his art and his music will carry on forever. Real quick, I just got this framed yesterday, and I wanted to share it with all of you. I've had this in my collection for some time, and just never got it framed. Then again, I have a lot of stuff in my collection that I had not gotten framed. But I had seen Daniel perform live a few years ago at the Exit Inn in Nashville, Tennessee. And Daniel doesn't do just your conventional autograph. He will draw you something. And so Daniel drew me this. I was like, Daniel, would you mind drawing me something? He's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, he's like, what do you want? And I was like, could you draw something spooky? And so he drew me this. Let me see if I can get it up close without too many glares here. So I just got this framed yesterday, and I'm gonna put it up on the wall. But again, you know, he wasn't conventional, and I like that he would do things like this. He would, you know, you'd ask him for an autograph, and he would take the time to draw something. Some drawings, especially if you caught him before a show and he had a lot more time to spare, would be a lot more intricate in some ways. And I think you might still be able to get some of his drawings at the at his Hi, How Are You store online. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to put that up on the wall. But anywho, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I enjoyed watching the documentary again. I will gladly watch it again and again and again because I love it so much. I listen to his music all the time. Definitely give that stuff a check. Really look into it. I mean, he has some good tunes. I'm gonna put some songs in the description below, and hopefully y'all find some joy in that. But as always, be good to one another, and I will see y'all next time.